June 28, 2025. Ukraine will begin exporting its battle-tested weapons, especially drones and missiles. February 24, 2026. The British government stated that between April and October 2025 it has already sent more than 85,000 military drones to Ukraine as part of a comprehensive military support effort. The goal for the current fiscal year is to reach 100,000 delivered units. November 3, 2025. According to the Ukrainian Defense Minister, Denis Shmyhal, Ukraine can produce 10 million drones itself in 2026. Ukraine will open offices for arms exports and joint arms production in Berlin and Copenhagen later this year, says Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, according to the news agency Reuters on Monday. How can it be right that Ukraine is begging for money for weapons for self-defense when Ukraine at the same time is selling the same type of weapons abroad?
So if Brussels and the leadership here in Brussels was normal, then they should have stopped the payments to Ukraine, and they immediately should have demanded for a financial clearance. We have to know what for the money of the European taxpayers was spent in Ukraine. The whole global media circulates the news about the operation of this corrupt system, of this war mafia. And I have to tell you, this is the most moderate expression that I'm going to use now. It's crazy that the President of the European Commission sends a letter to the member states to give another 100 billion euros to Ukraine. Come on, I mean, are we crazy? So there's a war mafia, a corrupt system working in Ukraine, and then the European Commission President doesn't even mention it in her letter, and instead of stopping the payments and demanding for immediate financial clearance, she wants to send another 100 billion to Ukraine. I mean, come on, this is insane. This is a scandal.
The EU, together with its 27 member states, is Ukraine's largest provider of financial, economic, military, and humanitarian support, over 193.3 billion euros in aid to Ukraine.
A former energy minister in Ukraine has been detained while attempting to leave the country. $100 million in funds was laundered, reportedly. The corruption scandal is now a big problem for the Ukrainian president. More in this detailed report.
The war-torn nation begs the West for billions to survive invasion. But former energy minister German Galushenko was nabbed at the Polish border. He was forced out of his government role last year. He was among the officials named in a corruption scandal. He has been charged with money laundering and involvement in a criminal group. A massive $100 million corruption scandal has engulfed Kyiv. The scandal threatens to engulf Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's administration. He had swept to power before Russia's full-scale invasion on the promise to root out corruption. But now his closest aides are getting named and shamed. Earlier, Zelensky's chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, resigned after his home was searched. In January 2025, Ukraine's military uncovered a massive scam. $40 million were embezzled, which were meant for the purchase of 100,000 mortar rounds.
In 2023, several senior officials, including 5 provincial governors, were dismissed following a corruption scandal. Deputy Defense Minister Vyacheslav Shapovalov resigned after a major procurement scandal, as did the deputy head of the Office of the President of Ukraine, Kyrylo Tymoshenko. Shortly before, a deputy minister at the Ministry of Infrastructure was sacked after being detained by anti-corruption agents while allegedly receiving a $400,000 bribe. Similar scandals persisted in subsequent years. Notably, the head of the presidential office, Andriy Yermak, resigned in 2025 after investigators raided his home during a corruption scandal. 2 other members of the Zelensky cabinet were also dismissed.
For Ukraine, the battlefield is not just in Donetsk or Kherson. It runs through ministries, state firms, and procurement files.
If we in Europe want to take corruption seriously, then we have to stop the payments. And we have to demand for an immediate financial clearance. Because what we know is that a corruption system has been operational in Ukraine on the highest state level.
And how sure are you that it is Russia behind these attacks?
So we know who's behind it. It is quite clear that it is Russia.
A number of people from Ukraine. In total, 7 people are accused of being behind the controversial sabotage of the Nord Stream gas pipeline. The sabotage took place in September 2022, a few months after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Nord Stream transported gas from Russia to Germany. A Polish court has refused to extradite a Ukrainian citizen to Germany after he is suspected of blowing up Nord Stream 2. According to the Polish judge who refused to extradite Volodymyr Zhuravlov to Germany, the sabotage of the 2 pipelines Nord Stream 1 and 2 in 2022 was not illegal at all. A new Ukrainian attack on a pipeline with Russian oil. The oil pipeline supplies Hungary and Slovakia. One would think that Ukraine is more interested in attacking Europe's infrastructure, which has cost Europeans billions of euros, rather than attacking the Russian invasion forces.